With your long military career, what do you think of the current focus of the U.S. military in its difficulty recruiting new enlistees? You have some suggestions.
Well, I went in during Vietnam, and so that's a totally different mindset. Because back then I expected, having a degree in chemistry, that I was going to be excluded from the national defense exemption at that time. And then the president decided, no, they want the best and the brightest. Everybody comes in. And so unless you had a family already or you went to Canada, you were part of that crowd that got there. And so there was very little opportunity for you not to go in. Now, we had the Vietnam War going on, not very popular. You turn that around to look at 9/11, and then everybody's going in. So it's a perspective of what's going on in the world at the time. You have people says, well, I can go in the military to avoid going to jail. I can go in the military to learn a new trade. I can go in the military to do whatever. So you have people coming in, they want to be pilots, they want to be whatever their passion is. They may not even know what it is. Maybe they just need the stability of the military. So from a perspective, I think that there's a couple drivers. And right now we're in that cycle where you have the wokeness and the DEI and other social engineering things. And I don't think the military ought to be a social engineering organization. You want a tip of a spear that will go in and take care of whatever's there, but you also need the logistical support. You need a lot of other things to make those things happen. So from a perspective of, if 10 years ago, my perspective was different than today, but let's say that you had a son coming out of high school, and you ask me as a military, would you talk to him? I would say, Dave, I'd be more than happy to. And so I go talk to, let's say his name is John. And John, you're getting ready to graduate. What, you have any career? No, they don't know what they want to do. Well, I would recommend they go in the Coast Guard initially for 2 to 4 years. Why? Because in the Coast Guard, it's a much smaller service and you give a lot more responsibility at the lower levels. You take a level such as a enlisted level 4 second class petty officer, and the responsibility isn't the same. In the Coast Guard, you have tons of responsibility at that level, but in the Navy, Army, and Air Force, they're not allowed that level of responsibility because that's usually reserved 2 or 3 levels up. And so you end up with a situation where you have the military discipline, you have the stability, you have a lot of things there. So now they put 3 or 4 years in, they have some kind of educational program. They get out, they can go to college because now it's going to be paid for. Now, if they want to go in, depending on what their skill sets and what their goals are, they want to go in the Air Force, the Marine Corps, whatever. They have that option. They can go in the reserves. So there's a lot of things there. But I think that the Coast Guard, and I've worked with them a lot over the years, and that's what's changed my perspective. But I think that would be a perfect place for a young person to go because you're going to get that responsibility, the discipline immediately, and then you can make a better decision when you're 20, 21, 22.